Hey, what is up guys? My name is Oleg, this is Bond. Welcome back to the channel. If you're in the market for an affordable Rolex Submariner Homage, DeCell has probably crossed your mind. They actually offer not one, but two different Rolex Submariner Homages. One of them is called the Submersible, and the other one is called Marine Diver. I actually have both of them in hand in my collection at the moment. So let's compare the two side by side, and maybe this video will help you decide which one of the watches is right for you. Or maybe neither. Let's get into it. So let's compare the two DeCell watches. On the left here we have the DeCell Marine Diver. On the right we have DeCell Submersible. Clearly both of these watches are Rolex Submariner Homage watches, and they do have very similar specs, and clearly they come from the same company. So I'll try to keep this video as short as possible, pointing out some of the differences between the two watches and tell you which one I prefer. Spoiler alert, I prefer this one here. First of all, let's talk about the specs and the price of both watches. So both watches are priced at the same price of $230 US. The specs are, again, pretty much identical. Both have sapphire crystals, both have ceramic bezels, both have Miyota movements. The Marine Diver has a Miyota 9015 movement, high beat, 24 joules, hiking, hand winding, and with power reserve of 42 hours. The Submersible has a Miyota 90S5, which is pretty much the same movement as a 9015. The only difference is that there is no date complication. As you can see, based on the specs, both watches are pretty much the same. The biggest differences are cosmetic and some of the feature differences. So first of all, let's talk about the Marine Diver. This is an homage to a more modern Rolex Submariner, and you can see that with the date window. You can also see it with the Cyclops. I think DeCell do Cyclops really well. It magnifies, I think, 2.5 times it's supposed to magnify, and it does that perfectly. So from all different angles, it looks great. It looks like a really good homage, almost a copy, if you will. With the DeCell Submersible, again, no date, no Cyclops window, so that is a pretty big change just right off the bat. The second big change is in sapphire crystals. So the DeCell Marine Diver just has a flat sapphire crystal. The Submersible has a domed sapphire crystal, and it's one of the big reasons why I prefer the Submersible. I just love those distortion angles. I love the AR coating. It gives kind of a blue hue. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it looks really, really nice. Versus here, it's really nice to have a flat sapphire crystal. I guess it just depends on your preference, but I do prefer the domed sapphire on the Submariner case. Both watches are, of course, stainless steel cases with the brushing on top and polish on the sides. The finishes on both watches are about identical. Both feature a signed crown at the 3 o'clock position. The big differences jump out when you take a closer look at the bezels and at the dials. So first, let's start with the bezels. Both watches have ceramic bezels. However, upon a closer look, you can see that the bezels are finished differently. The ceramic bezel on the Marine Diver is more shiny. I really like this look. I really enjoyed it when I initially got it, and I still enjoy it. In different lighting conditions, it looks and reflects light in different ways. Sometimes it almost looks gray, sometimes it looks deep black. I really enjoy the ceramic bezel. The Submersible also has a ceramic bezel, but this one is matted, so it always looks deep black. The dials are also different. Other than the fact that the Submersible doesn't have a date window, it also has painted on indices, and it gives an appearance of patinaed lume, or a aged lume, artificially aged lume, versus the DeCell Marine Diver has applied indices like a more modern Rolex Submariner, and a lot of Rolex Submariner homages do have applied indices. The application is done really well, and it matches this design, but I do prefer the painted on indices. The attention to detail with the vintage aged lume even goes to the lume pip. So you can see this one is kind of more yellow, gives an appearance of a patinaed lume, versus here it's pearl white, and so are the indices. Let me pop a lume shots on the screen right now. Both watches have amazing lume. I do think the Submersible has a bit of a stronger lume. The bezel action I prefer on the Marine Diver versus the Submersible. So take a listen. You can hear how solid the clicks sound. Very little to no backplay on this bezel versus the Submersible. It sounds cheaper. It has more backplay here. And the clicks are just not as solid. It doesn't feel as solid as the Marine Diver does. So definitely Marine Diver has a better bezel. Now I'm not sure if it's only my specific Marine Diver that has a really nice bezel or if it's all Marine Diver models, but I do prefer the Marine Diver over the Submersible bezel in terms of the action. Something that bothers me about both of these watches is this protruding first lug. So if you watched the reviews for either one of them, or if you are a fan of the channel and watched both of the reviews, you know that this first lug or this first link is what's really bothering me about the quality of these watches. I think if this part was improved, the overall look of the watch would be improved. Just look how much it protrudes. And the same story is for the Marine Diver. Again, a lot of protrusion is happening. This design feature could definitely be improved. Both watches feature pretty much the same stainless steel bracelet. Does have solid end links, solid links, and a nice clasp. So is here. We have the solid end links, solid links. Even does have screw in pins, which is rare for a watch under $300. But the clasps on the two watches are different. And you can even see with the size of the clasp. Now, why does the Marine Diver have longer clasp versus the Submersible? Well, let me demonstrate. So the Submersible does not have a glide lock mechanism. And originally when I did a review of this watch, I didn't know that it actually has a wetsuit extension. So it has a diver suit extension and is this first link that kind of locks into place like so. One of the subscribers to the channel and a long-term supporter, Jeffrey, actually pointed it out and my mind was blown. I like this watch even more now. I like the fact that it has the diver suit extension because it makes this watch a lot more comfortable to wear and bring with you on the trips as your wrist expands and contracts. This feature is very nice. However, the Marine Diver, I think, wins the battle of the clasps because it does have a glide lock mechanism. Now, this glide lock mechanism is not as good as the real Rolex Submariner. It doesn't kind of snap into place the same way. The Rolex Submariner glide lock mechanism is very satisfying if you ever used one, but this one is not bad. So you unhook it this way and you just set to your preferred length and kind of snap it back into place. Very satisfying and very useful. I do like that both clasps both bracelets taper in. So it goes from about 20 millimeters at the lugs to about 16 millimeters closer to the clasp, which makes both of these watches very comfortable to wear on the wrist. I think both of the watches are amazing, especially for the price, and both of them are unique in their own way. Of course, they are very similar, and to an untrained eye, they look pretty much identical. As I mentioned before, I do prefer the Submersible, and that's the watch I'm actually keeping. This watch here is already sold, so as soon as I'm done filming this video, I'm actually gonna ship it out to its new owner out in England. I hope he wears it in good health and enjoys it. So this is the last video I'm making with my Marine Diver, which is kind of bittersweet. I'm glad to be moving on to other watches and free up some of the money for purchases of other watches. But at the same time, I did make so many videos and spend so much time with this watch. I'm kind of sad to see it go. Both of the watches are fantastic value for money. Both of them have some negatives, and check out full reviews to hear more of the in-depth thoughts on both of the watches individually. I think either one you choose, you will not be unhappy with them. They do have some shortcomings, but overall, very solid offerings with solid specs for around $230. Alright, so that was the comparison between Tisell Submersible and Tisell Marine Diver. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope this will help you make up your mind which one of the two watches is right for you. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know which one out of the two do you prefer, and maybe which one out of the two you already have in your collection. On my wrist today, I'm wearing an Urban Kili. Of course, I did a review of this watch. That video can be found on the channel. A pretty good looking Mecha Quartz chronograph. Also, in the description of this video, there's a secret link. Have a look if you're interested. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.